Hello, my name's Amy and welcome to the final vlog of NaNoWriMo 2021. So it's Tuesday, I think it's about the 23rd and there is about a week to go until the end of the month. And my NaNoWriMo project is in a bit of a strange position. I'm actually 2 days ahead, just about. I've nearly hit 40,000 words. So there's a pretty good chance of me being able to make it to 50,000 by the end of the month. So far, so good. Except I am really struggling to get started this week. I have outlined the rest of the chapter I'm currently working on. There's maybe another 3,000 words to write on that. It's a relatively long chapter. It's quite a pivotal one in which two main characters meet. And some big things are revealed and there's lots of action. And I've started writing it and it's going really well, but I'm struggling to get back to it now somehow. I'd made the decision that once I'd finished this chapter, I was probably going to put this book, which is called 3 Funerals, on hold and make up the rest of my nano word count through other things. I've got some serial fiction to write, I've got scripts for YouTube videos, I've got blog posts, things like that. And I thought maybe the last 5,000 or 6,000 words of the month would just come from other things. Except having made that decision, I am really struggling to focus on 3 Funerals. I think I've got caught up by looking ahead at what's to come, and because I'm taking a break from this book and moving on to other things in December, my mind is already there. And I've definitely lost some of the impetus for working on this book, which is a shame because it's going really well and I think this chapter is going to be a good one, but I'm just really struggling to make myself sit down and write it. So I've written very little over the last few days. I've been struggling with some pain in my arm and hand, which is common for me when I do a lot of typing. That is easing off a bit because I've had a bit of a break. Most of the other work I've done over the last few days has been non-fiction, either scripts for YouTube videos or filming or editing. And so I'm hoping when I do finally come back to 3 Funerals, I will have regained some interest in it because I am so very, very close to where I wanted to be. I had this first set of 9 or 10 chapters mapped out roughly before NaNoWriMo. There was never a clear outline, but I could see what the first third of the book was going to look like. And this first set of chapters have done exactly what I wanted them to do. The plot has worked out, the characters have developed really nicely. The first third is going to come in at around 30 to 35,000 words, which is absolutely perfect for a 100,000 word book. And honestly, a lot of the doubts that I was talking about in last week's video have fallen away. So I'm in the absolutely perfect position to keep going, and now I've just got to make myself do it. So it's now Friday. I'm about to film something for my other channel, which is why I'm sitting in front of the wall of books. I haven't actually launched my second channel yet, although if I have done by the time this video goes up, I will link it down below. But of course, we're here to talk about NaNoWriMo, and I don't honestly know where to start. This last week has been just complete chaos. So many things have gone wrong. I've spent a lot of time looking after my daughter and at home alone. My partner has been running backwards and forwards trying to sort out the various disasters, and it has just not been an ideal week in any way. And I have come close to quitting NaNoWriMo several times now. That's not even because of lack of time or because I'm so stressed. I can write through those things. What I found this week though is I've been starting to question whether that was worth doing. I had in my head the 10 or so chapters that would open 3 funerals, about a third of the book, and I have now officially written all of them. Comes to about 32,500 words. I'm really happy with what I've written, and I'm not in any great rush to carry on and write the rest of the book right now. So that effectively is finished for now until I'm ready to go back to it. And I've been working on other things throughout Nano, which means that my overall word count is just shy of 43,000 words. But I'm not actually sure how to make up those final 7,000. And that's why I wondered whether I should just quit, because scrabbling around for more words seems a bit pointless. I know I can finish Nano. I know I can write more than 50,000 words in a month. I don't actually have anything to prove. So that was my state of mind up until last night. And there's still a little voice in the back of my head telling me that I should stick to that. I should just throw in the towel with 7,000 words left to go and move on to finish all the other things that are piling up. I've got proofreading to do, I've got videos to edit, I need to brainstorm for the next things I'm going to be writing over the next month or so. But in the middle of last night, and I really do mean in the middle of the night, this kind of came to me when I was struggling to sleep, I made a decision about what I'm writing next, which does actually affect the end of NaNoWriMo. I was planning to go on and write a standalone epic high fantasy that has been in the works for several years. Now, I could easily make up those 7,000 words from that, but the issue there is that I've so far written about 18,000 words and I really want to edit them first. I know I've already added some editing words into Nano so far, but I wasn't sure how to quantify it for this particular fantasy. I have a feeling I'm going to be jumping backwards and forwards a lot, maybe working on chapters multiple times, maybe deleting things or adding in new words. It was much simpler for the line editing and last edits of Echo State. It's just harder to decide how many words I've actually covered on this fantasy. But I had this sudden realization that I'm not sure I am going to do this fantasy. It's a very long book. It's going to be probably at the lowest 120,000 words, and I'm just not sure I'm ready for it. I've edited a lot of fiction this year. The book I'm about to release is nearly 120,000 words. I've got another big cyberpunk book to write next year, and I'm just not sure I want yet another huge book in between the two. So I started thinking what else I could do, and I fixed on another fantasy in the same world as the one I just referred to, and in fact in the same world as 3 Funerals, which I think will be more like 80,000 words, of which 14 are already written. This was actually a novella I wrote a few years ago, and I was never completely happy with it. I felt there was so much room to expand it, so I decided to turn it into a novel. And the good thing is I actually did quite a lot of that prep work. I looked at my Scrivener document and I've ordered the scenes and chapters I've already written, and I've also left spaces to fill in some extra scenes at the beginning of the book. So I could start work on that really quickly with very little time needed to get up to speed. And that I think, is where the rest of my nano words are going to come from. I'm hoping to continue this book right through to completion. I am at the very least going to try and write the entire first half in December, so it makes perfect sense to get started now and just add those words into my nano total. They will be drafting, they will be new words. It's easy to quantify how many of them there are and add them to the website. And unlike that other big epic fantasy, I'm actually ready for this one. So that is what my week is looking like. I'm hoping to work on that book a bit this afternoon because Friday is my big writing day. I am still hopeful of reaching 50,000 words in November. I was so far ahead at the end of last week and I've now actually fallen behind, I think. So I'm going to try and catch up. I'm going to try and dive back into this book, and I will update you again before the end of Nano. It's Monday the 29th, which means it's the second to last day of NaNoWriMo, and I have reached 50,000 words. Honestly, I really doubted whether I was going to get to this point. The last 7 days have been incredibly tough. Work has just been very, very stressful and so many things have gone wrong, I can't even count them. You've already seen some of the footage of the snow and it was absolutely beautiful, but it made our Airbnb very cold. We had some issues with the heating. My partner was up there every day over the weekend trying to get things sorted for guests, and it has just been an absolute nightmare. And honestly, the only thing that has kept me going on the writing front is the fact that I changed projects. Doing that a few days ago gave me the boost I needed. I've been writing steadily on that project and working through some of the scenes that I'd already written, and it is going really well. I already have nearly 11,000 words of this book. Some of that I've written over the last 3 days, and some of that was from the original novella. I'm really happy with it. It's coming together very nicely. I can see now how it's going to develop from a fairly short novella into a book. And it has a much less formal, ornate writing style than 3 Funerals, the book I was writing for most of Nano. So it's been a really nice change and a lot easier to draft. There was just something about 3 Funerals that demanded this very intricate prose style. And I know you're always told to not worry about the writing style when you're drafting, but I'm not always sure that's true. I spent a lot of time on that book thinking about word choice and sentence structure, and that's certainly not something you want to do on every first draft, but with that book it just felt appropriate. I needed the thinking time, I needed to get the characters' voices right for the time period, even in a fantasy world. And it also means that the 30 to 35,000 words I wrote of that book over the course of Nano are very clean. they're going to need pretty minimal editing from this first draft to the final version. I don't write many books that come out that way, but there was just something about this one. Of course, there's still 2/3 of that book left to write, and things might change in later chapters. But what I've done so far, I feel is not going to change a huge amount by the time it's published. But the book I've moved on to is different. It is much less complicated writing, it's more plot-based, and I'm trying to work out that plot at the moment. So it's a much more standard first draft scenario, and I'm really enjoying it. But honestly, I am just surprised I am here at all wrapping up NaNoWriMo, because for a lot of last week I was really tempted to give up, and even if I kept writing, I did not think I was going to get anywhere near 50k. I suppose what I've learnt this month and in this particular nano is how much I can push myself. I've been writing steadily over the last couple of years, and I felt I was producing quite a lot of work and putting a lot of time into it. But this NaNoWriMo has demonstrated to me how much more I can do. I've written maybe 33,000 words of 3 funerals, add in this new book that I'm working on and some serial fiction, and that probably takes us up to about 40,000 words of fiction. The final 10k was made up of blog posts and scripting for YouTube videos, but I've also done a lot of filming and editing and social media. I've still been working, dealing with the stress of work this week particularly, and I've also started proofreading Echo State, which I talked about finishing the edits of in previous vlogs. I've probably proofread about 20,000 words of that over the last few days, and I haven't counted any of that towards Nano. So when I actually look at everything I've achieved this November, I've kind of surprised myself. There have been a lot of moving parts. I didn't intend to work on so many things at once, but that's just the way things fell this time round. And I suppose I've proved to myself that I can do it. Even with work and stress and family responsibilities, the time is there when I push myself a little bit harder. So I do have plans to slow down a little bit in December. I've got to finish the proofread and get Echo State released, and I will keep drafting and making YouTube videos, but I am going to slow down a bit. So whilst this turned into a far less typical NaNoWriMo than I'd expected at the start of the month, I'm still very happy with where I've ended up. And I would love to hear about your progress. Please tell me down in the comments. It's been a very strange year for Nano. I think I've said this a few times in recent years. The world is still in a state where it feels like there is never any good news, and we're all trying to write through that. So I've seen a lot of people who either gave up or didn't reach the 50k, but I've also seen people who won a while ago. But honestly, whether you wrote 500 words or 50,000 during November, count it as a win, because those are words you didn't have before. So I will be back throughout December with some more lifestyle and writing vlogs. We're definitely into winter now, so there'll be some wintry adventures to come and lots of time spent cozying up at home. So until then, keep writing everyone, and I'll see you next time.